But Sarah, I want to kind of transition a little bit into fears because you talk about break up with your fears. How do fears actually hold us back from experiencing all that life has for us?
Fears are so sneaky because they pretend to keep us safe. Fears say, don't do that because you could get hurt. Don't do that because you could fail. Don't do that because it may not work out. And it sounds so logical and sensical that we begin to trust our fears. And because they pretend to keep us safe, it's difficult for us to break up with them. But there is this longing down on the inside of us that says, I wonder who I could be if. I wonder what would happen if. And that longing does not go away. And so how do I align that longing with my being and my presence? And so one, I think we start to direct our faith in the direction of our fears. Well, if it does fail, God will give me wisdom and faith so that I never have to experience that again. If it does fail, then at least I won't live haunted and taunted by the idea of what if. Faith and fears must walk together, right? We don't ever totally avoid our fears, but your faith ought to be talking back to your fears. Your fears cannot have the microphone alone. Listen, this is going to be a duet if it is nothing else. My fear may be singing, but my faith is going to be rapping on this bridge, okay? Because we're going to be in this thing together.
That's right, Sarah. Oh, the preacher Sarah about to come out, y'all. Y'all better watch out. She's trying to hold herself in, y'all, but she coming in.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, Lord. So, hey, Sarah, let's be real. You have some ladies right now who are fearful to opening up. You know, they've been cheated on by men. They've been lied to by men. They have some scars in the past. They're fearful of really just embracing something new. So when they feel that fear, what should they do to get beyond that?
Whenever you have been in a toxic relationship, especially if you've been in a series of toxic relationships, it is perfectly normal to come to a place where you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do it again at all. But that's not how we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live free and we're supposed to live open. And so instead of treating those relationships and situations as if I'm never going to do it again, we have to ask ourselves, how can I learn from this? Who was I when I engaged in this relationship? A lot of times we experience red flags or pink flags or orange flags, but we ignore them because we see so much potential in a person. Who was I? What was I in need of? Dissecting who we were in that moment is so important so that we never have to repeat that cycle again. The other thing I would say is we don't have to be desperate. We can be so fulfilled in our identity and who we are. I was a single mother. I'm married now. I have an incredible husband. He's absolutely changed my life. But before I met him, I was so in love with myself that like giving up my life to be with him was literally a sacrifice because I was so in love with who I am, but I knew that it was a God sacrifice and that God sacrifice always adds increase to you afterwards. But we got to get to a place where we're like, yo, I'm digging me so much that I don't know if I can even rock with you like that.
Is it wrong for me to think that, Sarah, me being single? Like, I'm so bad, I don't know if I can rock with you like that. Is it wrong? Is it selfish? Because I'm trying to tell you, but I'm like, I feel you. Sarah, man, listen. Oh, man, Sarah. Now, here's something that you talk about this in your book, and I'm like, okay, like, Sarah, I was joking in the beginning. I think, men, if you do read this, it's good to read it to have an understanding how Sarah's talking to the ladies. But there's a lot in this book that we can get as men. And you said something in there, one of the biggest fears holding women back, but I want to say one of the biggest fears holding people back is fearing what other people think about you. And that's not just for ladies. You know, I'm gonna keep it a stat. Like, that's my biggest fear to this day. Like, I got this platform, you have a platform. I'm like, okay, how do if I say this, what will they say? If I say this, am I on the news? If I do this wrong, man, everyone's talking about me. Or, like, I'm even fearful, Sarah, to be real, from a single person's perspective. I know people are attracted to the brand, but will they like the person, Anthony? Yeah. And it's like, how do we get through worrying about what others will say about us? How do we get through that fear?
Man, you've said so much here. As a person with a platform, I have found that the comments that sting the worst, the ones that hurt me the most, are the ones that echo an insecurity that already existed down on the inside of me. If someone comments on my page and tells me that 2 plus 2 equals 5, I don't care about that because I know it's not true. But when they start to tell me 2 plus 2 equals 4, or that you're just doing this for that reason, or you're this or you're that, it stings because there is a part of my fear and insecurity that thinks that they could be right. And then I have to do the work to work through that. So when it comes down to what people think, I think we have to dissect why it stings so much. We have to do some self-introspection and investigation. Why did that hurt so much when they said that?
Yeah.
If it's not true, is there a part of me that believes it? And as it relates to more intimate, personal relationships, we have to come to a place where we are willing to give people in those intimate relationships the authentic version of who we are. My husband tells this story about when he came to Dallas to visit me on our second date, that I took my makeup off when he was coming by my house because I don't go to bed with makeup on. So he was coming by to say goodnight and say that he was leaving town. And I took my makeup off and I answered the door without my makeup on. And he was like, you were always the realest to me because of that. But I'm like, listen, I don't have time for you to fall in love with a perversion of me that I will not be 24/7. Now, I'm going to put on these brows, I'm going to put on these eyelashes, and we're going to do what needs to be done. But 24/7, I'm basically going to be looking like this. So I was like, this is who I am up front.
Sarah, Sarah. Hey, listen, all the brothers watching this show right now are gonna be like, hey, Sarah Jake said on her second date, she took off the makeup. Can you take off your makeup, please?
Oh Lord, don't get me in trouble with the sisters.
But I mean, you did that and you didn't really care about what you wanted him to see, the authentic self. And it's like, I'm pretty sure you cared about what he thought about, but it's like, hey, I want to give you the real up front. Whether you like it or not, let's have that combo.
Relationships are invasive.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of us end up having emotional withdrawal.
Yeah.
We're in relationships, but we're not totally in them because they are so invasive. People want to know why you think the way you do, why you show up the way that you do. And you have to invite someone into this deep, sometimes childhood trauma version of who you are. So we don't even have time to pretend on the surface level, because if this continues moving in the direction that it could move, you're going to be all in my stuff, all in my issues and struggles. And so as much as we can keep it real, I think that that's better.
Sarah Jakes Roberts, Lord have mercy.